You can play outside longer if you wear sunscreen. And you wouldn't jump out of an airplane without a parachute. Protection matters in life and in financial strategies, insurance, retirement, and more with New York Life. Visit NYL.com.
Are negative Google reviews hurting your business? Don't let unfair feedback cost you customers. At Webamax, we specialize in removing false, misleading, and damaging reviews so your online reputation stays strong. Our expert team works quickly and legally to clean up your digital presence, helping you rebuild trust. Visit us on the web at www.gowebamax.com. That's GOWEBIMAX.com, or text us for a free quote at 856-840-8343. Don't let bad reviews define you. Get immediate help from Webamax.
Hello and welcome into the Birds of the Round Table. Guys, we are less than 5 days away, 5 sleeps away from Super Bowl kickoff. Eagles, I guess we're technically hosting the Chiefs. We're the home team this time around. So the Eagles hosting the Chiefs. Home field advantage in New Orleans. I don't even know. We're going to break down this game. Last week, we did not do a Chiefs preview because we knew we had another week. So we've got a lot of stuff we want to get into tonight. Thanks for joining the show, everybody that's out here live. I'm your host, Shane Haff. Give me a follow on Twitter at Shane Haff NFL. Joined by the whole Roundtable crew. First off, we have Dibes. Give him a follow on Twitter at Mr. Crockpot. Dibes, how are you doing?
Doing well, man. It's been a long time coming. I'm excited to talk about the return of Joel Embiid on the court. I mean, the Eagles in the Super Bowl, but let's do it.
All right. Also joined by the man who has more trinkets than table space, according to Marshawn here. It is Ryan Reese. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. Ryan, every time we do a podcast, you have more stuff on the desk. Are you buying this stuff week to week, or are you just like relocating it?
Most of it is relocating. But this is my brand new addition right here.
What's the bird's name? Does it have a name?
It doesn't have a name, but what is great about this is that it not only does it look great, it's Philadelphia themed, but it's also a beer funnel, so I can drink lots of beer. See the tail is the funnel.
Okay.
Oh,
okay. When I win beer Olympics again at your house next year, I want that. I want that.
Okay, that'll be up for the prizes.
All right. Well, we are also joined by David. Give him a follow on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. David, how are you doing?
Doing great, man. I'm looking forward to getting into this game. This is what the whole season everybody wanted it to be. We've had every single matchup we wanted, and I might be in the minority, but this is the matchup I wanted in the Super Bowl too. I want them to go through all of the teams that had caused them problems. I want to win over the best, and I think Mahomes has been recognized as the best. So this is the matchup I wanted, so I'm ready to get into it.
All right. Well, this is not the matchup I wanted because I didn't even want the Chiefs near the Super Bowl, but I digress. Let's dive into it, guys. No game to recap this week, so we're just going to dive into preview, maybe go a little more in-depth than normal with the extra time here. So let's start off with the Eagles offense against the Chiefs defense. We'll run through some of the things that we're going to be keeping an eye on, the matchups that are going to dictate this game. David, I'll throw it to you first. What's something you're going to watch for when the Eagles are on offense?
I'm going to go with the pass rush, the Eagles defense versus Mahomes in that. In Super Bowl 57, his longest completion of the night, Mahomes, was 22 yards, and that came in the first quarter. He only attempted one other pass the whole game over 20 yards, and that fell incomplete. But what he was good at was extending plays by moving in and out of the pocket, despite having a sprained ankle. The Eagles had their feared pass rush, and a lot of people will blame it on the field, but a lot of it also has to do with Mahomes gets rid of the ball as fast as anyone in the league. The Eagles pressured him on 35.5% of his dropbacks in that first Super Bowl matchup, and which was their highest total of the season in pressuring a quarterback. They generated those historic numbers mainly by playing quarterbacks who didn't get rid of the ball quickly. They sent pressures 10 times in that game, and they had 0 sacks. He got rid of the ball extraordinarily fast, like 2.9 seconds, I think, in the first half and 2.4 in the second. So in hindsight, blitzing somebody who gets rid of the ball faster than anybody in the league, not too smart. They also are going to have to defend the short routes because they got eaten up by those. Again, like I mentioned, he didn't even attempt but one other throw over 20 yards that whole game. Gang tackling and keeping everything in front of them, they're going to have to be successful at that. They can't afford missed tackles in this game. They couldn't get pressure last time, and that's really not what they try to do this time. They'll only send 4 for the majority of the game, but that's the biggest matchup that I'm looking forward to watching this time around, is the chess match between trying to cut off those short routes and keeping everything in front of them.
All right. Ryan, I'll throw it over to you next. Any thoughts on what David said or anything else that you're going to be watching for when the Eagles are on offense?
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I'm going to be looking for them to continue to be doing what they've been doing in games. And that's, basically getting themselves either into a slight lead or only down, a half a score here. They seem to position themselves very well in the first half, to where by the time it gets to the second half, what they do well is they wear you down. And by the time that you're trying to mount a comeback, you're too damn tired to do it. So that's what I'm really looking for the offense to do, is to keep par with what they've been doing these last, honestly, since the bye. They've been controlling that first half, even with them not scoring first quarter points for many, many games.
All right. One of the things that I would like to see the Eagles do, and I mean, this sounds stupid, or it just sounds so simple, but you just need to come out and establish the run early, because I feel like so much of watching the Chiefs defense, where they get you is with some of the exotic pressure looks that Steve Spagnuolo likes to throw out there. And a lot of those are not like sound defensively if running the ball is a possibility. I mean, we've seen Saquon Barkley house one in the postseason against a big, shifted look with linebackers walked up on the line of scrimmage, and you can run against those looks on 1st and 10. It's hard to do on 3rd and 12. And so staying out of those third and must pass situations is going to be huge for this offense. I feel like the Chiefs defense, it's not that good. It's well coached, but it doesn't have the same level of talent that they've had over the last couple of seasons, and it shows. And the way that they really get you is by generating those big negative plays. And if you can stay out of situations that allow them to do that. The Eagles have been better against the blitz this year, but they haven't faced something like this. And I do anticipate it giving them some problems if they have to get into a pure drop back game against that. So staying ahead of the sticks and staying equal in the score is going to be big early in this game. Dibes, what do you think offensively?
Yeah, that's huge. This is definitely a narrative-changing game for Jalen Hurts. You go back to that Tampa Bay Bucks game when he was just literally exposed against the blitz and pressure, and all the progress, all the improvements we've seen from Jalen and Kellen Moore in that area. I mean, this is center stage, national media. I just can't wait for Jalen Hurts to change the narrative. We've seen major strides from Jalen in that area. But for me, a big part of why he's been so good against the blitz has been the return of Dallas Goedert. And that's what I'm looking at. Dallas Goedert versus the Chiefs linebackers. Goedert has been outstanding since he's returned in that final week of the regular season. His chemistry with Hurts has been terrific, acting as a safety valve, being that check down, being that sure thing when under pressure, when blitzed. You look at Dallas Goedert in the Super Bowl 57 against the Chiefs. He had 6 catches for 60 yards on 7 targets. And this is a Kansas City Chiefs defense that has allowed more yards to opposing tight ends in the regular season than any other team. They've done a really good job over the last couple of weeks. They've held Dalton Kincaid and Dawson Knox in the AFC Championship game to 20 yards total. They held Houston's Dalton Schultz to 4 catches for 63 yards. But man, just like you said, Shane, we know Spags loves his exotic blitzes, and it's more about quality than quantity. They're not a blitz-heavy team, but when they do it, they're going to try and go for that uppercut and look for Dallas Goedert to have a huge impact in this Super Bowl. It's going to be really interesting. Everyone's kind of talking about Travis Kelce, and rightfully so. But these last 4 weeks, man, I think Dallas Goedert has a real chance to cross 100 receiving yards for the first time since week 3.
All right, so potential big Dallas Goedert game there from Dibes. Another thing, I'd like to see the Eagles get into empty a lot. Like watching the Bills game, the AFC Championship game. One thing that the Chiefs did really well was I thought they played like the read option game for the Bills and like the screen game, like the RPO screen game really well. Not that I want the Eagles to run screens ever anyways, because they're terrible at it. But I would like to see them get into empty looks more, because empty it forces a defense to kind of declare what they're doing early. Like you can see where pressure is going to come from if it comes. You can see coverages easier, and it also gives you running lanes for your quarterback if you want to get into the running game with the quarterback. I want to see pull out all the stops. I want to see Hurts as a runner, and I think we will see that because they called designed runs for him. Not a lot in the Washington game, but they did it a few times before the game got out of hand. So if he is fully healthy, I'd like to see a big day from Hurts on the ground as well. So, David, what else are you looking at on the Eagles' offensive side of the ball?
If I could add to what you were talking about as far as establishing the run, like in the first Super Bowl matchup, the Eagles had 115 rushing yards in that game, but Jalen Hurts was 70 of them. Miles Sanders struggled mightily in that game. He was, I think he ended up with 16 yards. So this season, the Eagles are in 12 personnel, a little over 37% of the time. They run from 12 almost 71% of the time. And I think I read that their success rate is 44%. And even that should be better, because it's usually due to a missed block from Becton or Calcaterra or something like that. Calcaterra has really struggled in that. But I think that, this is going to be a lot different because Miles Sanders is upgraded now to Saquon Barkley. And as much as everybody likes to talk about the defense that the Chiefs bringing, they haven't played against somebody like Saquon Barkley either. So, and as far as the blitz goes, Hurts was 23rd, I think, in EPA drop back. And this year he's 7th. And Spags will use, those creative blitzes, especially if they can get him on 3rd and long. And like Dibe said, Goddard has to be effective in hot routes over the middle. He's a beast in winning man coverage, and they're going to need him to Sunday. And also Smitty will be one-on-one on a lot of those with McDuffie, and he's going to have to get open as well. And somewhere I was reading about the out coverage. I think the Chiefs are 2nd worst in the league in covering passes outside the numbers towards the sideline. And Jalen Hurts thrives at that. So you might see a lot of those built into the game plan.
Yeah, that was a lot of those against the Commanders.
Yeah, it's one of his strengths for sure, working off that vertical route tree on the outside. And when the Bills went four strong several times against the Chiefs, and it was interesting to see how the Chiefs defended that. I would like to see the Eagles go 4 strong a lot and put A.J. Brown as the isolated guy and figure out, hey, are you going to give Trent McDuffie help over the top because it's A.J. Brown? And if so, we've got a massive numbers advantage to the other side. And if not, it's A.J. Brown on Trent McDuffie, who is a great player. And I loved him coming out of the draft, but when he came out in the draft, people were like, he could probably only be a slot corner. And he's played well outside, but he's small. And you like those matchups if you can get them. So the Eagles are definitely going to need to take some of those shots downfield, open up the run game underneath. I think it's just really important for Hurts. You're not going to be able to block all of Spags' blitzes all the time, but you have to have an answer for them. If it's not blocked up, you've got to have an answer to get it out, like Dibes was mentioning, to Goddard over the middle. So, Ryan, throw it back over to you there. What do you got?
Yeah, I think one thing that people really aren't talking about, or I certainly haven't seen it, is the simple fact that right now, Devontae Smith is your Eagles postseason receiving yards leader. And right behind him is Dallas Goedert. I think it's somewhere in the range of 20 yards-ish. So it's going to be a battle between those two guys to see at the end of this year who comes out on top as the official postseason receiving yards leader. I believe Smith beat Harold Carmichael's record against the Commanders, but Goddard is literally right on his heels in third place. And could easily, again, if Dibes has his wish, certainly could overtake Devontae Smith. So that's certainly something that I'm going to kind of low key in the back of my head, kind of keeping track of where they both are throughout the game.
All right. What else on the offensive side of the ball? Dibes.
So I think it's one of the biggest matchups of Sunday. Period. And it's Chris Jones versus this interior offensive line. Cam Jurgens, Landon Dickerson, they're banged up. Mekhi Becton, love him in his run blocking, but man, there has been some lapses, and that's saying it kindly, in pass pro. And they go up against Chris Jones. We all know about Chris Jones. He's a guy that requires zero introduction. He had 2 sacks against Buffalo, 8 pressures, a 31.3 pass rush win rate against true pass sets on the season, 16+% pressure rate, and a second in win rate against true pass sets at 22.9%. Chris Jones is just a freak athlete, ridiculous bend, can play inside and out, kind of like how I want the Eagles to use Jalen Carter a little bit, a little more on the outside, use that as a matchup nightmare. But Chris Jones is coming. This is a guy that has a knack for making the biggest plays in the biggest moments. We've seen it over and over and over again. Going back to the previous Super Bowl, 57, the Eagles did a really good job containing Chris Jones. They didn't send a lot of double teams. They didn't send a lot of help. On 18 pass blocking matchups with Isaac Seumalo, Chris Jones did pretty well against him, 17% pass rush win rate. But against all other 4 Eagles starting offensive linemen, he only had 1 pressure and no win rate above 9%. You look at Cam Jurgens and Mekhi Becton and Landon Dickerson. I'm really intrigued what Jeff Stoutland does with Chris Jones on Sunday. I expect probably the same game plan, to be honest. And it's kind of a fun parallel as you when we get to the defense with Jalen Carter going up against Trey Smith.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like Chris Jones had 8 pressures in the Buffalo game and 2 sacks, like you said. And watching the game, I didn't honestly feel like he was that impactful. I was surprised when I looked up his stats afterwards. So, but he's a really good player. And, it seems like everybody's going to be healthy for the Eagles in play. You always wonder how healthy, is Cam Jurgens going to get out there and sink against a bull rush on the 3rd play of the game and his back get tweaked? Like, you never know. But so health is going to be a huge thing. And, we've talked about before that the Eagles' interior offensive line wasn't really pass protecting that well early in the playoffs. Even if we throw out the NFC Championship game with this, the center shuffle that was being played. So that's something to watch for. However, I do think a lot of what gave them problems earlier in the playoffs were defensive stunts, and the Chiefs stunt at one of the lowest rates in the NFL on pass rushes. So I don't think you have to worry about that a ton. It's the other blitz things that you are going to have to look at as well. Does anybody else have anything they want to throw out offensively here? I don't want to move us along too quickly, but
Give Barkley 20 carries. He hasn't been held under 100 yards all season if he's got 20 carries, and the Chiefs have given up 135 rushing yards or more in 5 of their last 6 games. So feed Barkley, even if it starts off slow, feed him.
Give me lots of inside zone with Saquon on Sunday. The Chiefs have really struggled in that area. I expect the Eagles to exploit that. And, a lot of those explosive runs have come on the outside. Like David said, this is a big Saquon game, man. Big Saquon game.
Yeah, in the Buffalo game, James Cook, I think it was a 63% success rate, 64% success rate on his runs. As good a game as Mahomes played, James Cook had the same EPA per rush as Patrick Mahomes had EPA per drop back. And so I do think this is a team that you can run the football on. Joe Mixon had a 47% success rate against the Chiefs in the round before that, and they've really struggled at times with the run game. Houston has. And so, like I said, I think this is a game you really want to establish that run. I will play for 3rd and shorts all day. I'm totally fine with getting into 3rd and shorts.
That is so key, man. Dominate on those first downs, dominate on those second downs. It's the same thing that Ryan said. Are we going to get the Commanders playbook in the Super Bowl? If we get the same kind of thing we saw with Kellen Moore, the runs with Goddard, the offense where we're putting pressure on the defense, getting them to go horizontal, all that shit we got promised in the offseason and the preseason. We didn't really get a lot of during the regular season. If we get that game plan with Jalen Hurts' pre-snap reads and this offensive line and their ability to push and get Saquon yards before contact, that trying not to sound like a homer, but that really is a major advantage for us.
Yeah. All right. Anything else that any of you guys want to throw out offensively before we flip over to the defensive side?
Get the ball to Devontae Smith on the outside. Like I said, Hurts is really good at that, getting outside the pocket when there's pressure. Spags disguises his blitzes so well. Just get outside and get Smitty on the sideline, man. Nobody has better awareness of where they are on the sidelines like he does. And he has had 12 targets this postseason and caught all 12 of them. He's on fire, man. And he's excelled really well against the Chiefs as well. I mean, I think he has 321 receiving yards in their 3 games they've matched up against him. So you got to feed him as well.
All right. Anything else?
Brett
just a comment, yeah. No, I was just going to comment on this. From everything that I hear, I feel like both gentlemen are not going to miss this game, regardless of whether
Cam's good to go completely. I agree with that. I haven't heard Dickerson either, but he's playing. There's zero chance he's missing this game.
Hey, let's settle that down, Q. Let's not put those vibes in the air.
All right, well, let's get over to the defensive side of the ball. And let's start off with a question here that Brett Eclipse chimed in with. It said, speaking of Jalen Carter, do we think Fangio will move him opposite to the left guard to attack the weakness there for the Chiefs?
That. Love it.
Let's go around thoughts. Do you think they'll do it, and would you do it, Dibes?
Of course I would, but I don't think they'll do it. I think they're the number one defense for a reason. I think everyone knows their role. That Jalen Carter getting double teamed all game long has opened up everything for Milton Williams for a reason. Milton Williams is going to make a shit ton of money for a reason, and that's because of Jalen Carter and how much he does for that Eagles defensive line. They're not going to shake things up to an extent. I don't think we'll see, other than like a little changes in the defensive rotation, I don't think or foresee any alignment changes.
All right, Ryan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, they're not going to do anything with that because they know that it doesn't matter who you put up against Jalen Carter, he's just going to smash him. So, let somebody else eat. Let somebody else have an easier time.
Okay, David, thoughts?
I think it's more likely you'll see Brandon Graham doing that because he's more versatile.
like
He
it.
moves all along the line. I think that's going to be the matchup you'll see utilized with that.
Yeah, Jalen Carter's only played like 2% of his snaps aligned on the right side this year. So right side for the defense, left side for the offense. That always confuses me too. Like, let's just make it the left on both sides, whatever. I actually would rather them not do that too, because like, I think if you rush Carter over the left guard, it's just the easiest thing in the world for the Chiefs to slide Creed Humphrey over there to help. Versus if you put Jalen Carter in his normal spot, now they have to choose between are we helping with Jalen Carter or are we helping with our weak link in the offensive line? So I actually kind of like having him rushing against Trey Smith. And, they got to pick. Are we going to leave Milton Williams on an island with a backup guard? Or are we going to help him and leave Jalen Carter on an island with a starting right guard? So I actually kind of like the conundrum that presents to the Chiefs. So maybe you do it a time or two, but I actually really like the fact that it's the left guard that's out, not the right guard.
Yeah, I'll just piggyback off of that. One of the top matchups to watch, Jalen Carter versus Trey Smith, one of the best right guards in football versus Jalen Carter. It might be a passing of the torch here between Chris Jones and Jalen Carter type of moment here on Sunday. But we also know about Trey Smith. He's absolutely amazing, and I am really intrigued how they handle Jalen Carter in this one. I mean, how many times have we seen in the postseason teams make the mistake of putting Jalen Carter one-on-one? We saw it against the Rams, and he completely blew up the game in a big moment there in the fourth quarter. I'm really intrigued. Like, are they that stupid? I know Trey Smith is really good, but there's no way he can handle Jalen Carter. And I love this comment from Desert Fox. Like, Jordan Davis, huge game against the Commanders last week. Milton Williams, Jordan Davis, that is the bread and butter of this Eagles defense, in my opinion, that interior rush. That's where I think the Eagles have a real advantage, especially with Joe Thuney on the outside now.
All right, let's get into some other defensive things to watch. A big one for me is, surprisingly, the Chiefs haven't been great in the red zone this year. I feel like that's always been a hallmark of Andy Reid, is scheming things up in the red zone, and it certainly was 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. But the Chiefs are only scoring a touchdown on 54% of their red zone trips, which is 22nd in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Eagles defense only gives up a touchdown on 48% of opposing teams' red zone trips, which is the 5th best rate in the NFL. So that's kind of strength for the Eagles on, I still hesitate to say weakness, because you know how Reid is able to scheme those things up. And the thought of Travis Kelce on Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is already keeping me up at night in the red zone. But that's going to be something to watch. You win the red zone, you win the game. The team that's able to force the other team to take field goals is going to be the team that walks out of here with the win. So that's a big thing that I think you should be watching. David, what are you looking out for when the Eagles are on defense?
Well, kind of like what you said, Travis Kelce, their offense goes through him. The Eagles have had a little bit of trouble containing tight ends this postseason. Again, they have outscored their 3 opponents in the postseason by 50 points. So there was a whole lot of passing being done in these games. So take that for what you will. But Zach Ertz was targeted 16 times and hauled in 11 receptions for over 100 yards in the championship game. Tyler Higbee was targeted 10 times. He had a touchdown and 54 more yards. So protecting that is going to have to be paramount for them. And again, like you just mentioned, I don't know if Chauncey Gardner-Johnson should be the guy who matches up with him all night long. I don't know what they can do. Maybe you'll see Cooper some. Maybe you'll see Bond some. I mean,
Cooper did for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to have to, change that up somewhat, because I do think that's probably the ball game right there in a lot of ways, is if they can shut him down.
Yeah, and the Chiefs do like to go 12 and 13 personnel. The Eagles do not play base personnel. They pretty much just stick in nickels. So I think you will see Cooper DeJean responsible for a tight end a lot out of the slot.
Is there anything? Oh, go ahead.
Go,
Sorry.
Another thing I noticed was, and they're almost marrying each other. The Eagles defense used cover 4 19.5% of the time during the season, and so did the Chiefs, the exact percentage. And they've both increased that 10%, almost 10% in the postseason. So that's really crazy. So they're both, using two safeties, two corners in these deep zone defending, three, linebackers underneath. So the quarters coverage is definitely in full effect for both of these teams going into the game.
Yeah, for sure. And one thing about the Chiefs is it's hard. Like, we know what the Eagles defense is, right? Split field safety. We're going to play quarters, or we're going to spin into cover 3 match. Like that's the Eagles defense. With the Chiefs, you just don't know. Like they change so much week to week. And I mean, we're talking about the Eagles defense now, but you kind of know what the Eagles defense is going to do. It's going to be interesting to see like what the Chiefs defense cooks up. But yeah, back to the Chiefs offense, Eagles defense. Another thing I think you're going to see is the Chiefs are going to try to stay ahead of the sticks because Mahomes has been so good. Like they just want to get into third and mediums, and they trust Mahomes to go win those downs. If you just look at like success rate, the Chiefs have a 55% success rate on 3rd and 4th down, which ranks number 1 in the NFL. And against the Bills, they routinely like run the ball, 3rd and 5 completion. Like that's just what they did. And when they would throw it, it's a lot of RPOs. Like I swear there were like 3 straight drop back passes against the Bills. Everything was RPOs. And so I think they're going to stretch the field horizontally. They're going to motion Xavier Worthy a lot and get the ball out to the flat. And they're going to make the Eagles try to tackle. And if the Eagles rally and tackle 2 plays in a row, they're going to be rewarded with a 3rd and short to a 3rd and medium. And they're going to have to win those 3rd downs and get off the field. So I expect it kind of like that Commanders drive where everything was hard for the Commanders. There was no explosive plays, nothing easy, but they just kept converting 3rd and 4th downs and they walked down the field. I think that's the kind of game you're going to be in for with the Chiefs. And I don't think Mahomes is going to make some of the mistakes that Jaden Daniels had. So you're going to have to generate some negative plays on the defensive side and continue to rally and tackle.
Yeah, that was my take after that first drive by Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. That's what Vic Fangio wants. That's a win for Vic Fangio for the opponent to exhaust a big chunk of their playbook and only get 3 points, giving him more data to adjust in the second half. That's a major win for Vic.
Yeah.
And BG won't be taking Nolan Smith's snaps. He might take a lot of sweats because he definitely could use the break. But
amen. Yeah. No, Nolan Smith is he might be the biggest X factor in this game against a guy like Patrick Mahomes and his ability to get to the outside and scramble, and Nolan Smith's ability to set the edge, be just a maniac on the outside. I think Nolan Smith going against Jawad Taylor is one of the biggest matchups in favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah.
All right, Ryan, anything else you want to shout out on the Eagles defense?
No, I think if they continue to dominate up front and really take advantage of putting Mahomes into again, pressure situations. Now obviously we know that Mahomes can certainly wiggle his way out of these situations, and he's built a career on doing things like that. But, in all honesty, he hasn't been as magical as he normally has this year. And it's only really when kind of backed into a corner has he kind of, brought that out of his bag of tricks. But I think if we consistently put the pressure on him, we have the 3 lines of defense that I think will work, together. That I think he can't take advantage of one versus the other. If he's getting pressured on, we're going to have our DBs, hopefully on their wide receivers and tight ends, that those magical plays aren't going to present itself as often as I think they would for, your average team that the Chiefs have played. So, the simple fact of the matter is we have the defense that's been solid, for 90% the last 90% of the year. And whether it's been a Lamar Jackson or a Jaden Daniels or whomever, we've stepped up to the task. We've relied on one out of the three levels of defense to put the main pressure on, and the other two do their jobs. And that's what's key, and that's what's important for this defense to do is, everybody doing their jobs, and let one of those groups, rise up a little bit and do more than their job. And that's what makes life a living hell for quarterbacks.
Yeah. Anybody have anything else that they want to throw out there?
Yes, I would like to say something else. Hold on, I got to bring up the comment again. The second I saw this comment, all I could say is, remember that time where Fletcher Cox showed up at the Bourbon Bowl and the Eagles won the Super Bowl? Sorry, go ahead.
I don't know how to follow that. I
I'll
don't know.
never do that again. I'm sorry.
I have a football take. This Eagles defense is far more battle tested than the one that faced the Chiefs 2 years ago in the Super Bowl. In that season, they faced Daniel Jones and Josh Johnson in the playoffs, and they pretty much had a cakewalk to the Super Bowl. This year, they faced the Packers and their unique style of run packages, the arm of Stafford in the pocket, the mobility of Jaden Daniels. I mean, they've had 3 games instead of 2. They are battle tested far more than they were in 2022, and this is a far better overall defense as well.
Yeah, and I think they're coming off of a pretty good dress rehearsal against the Commanders. The Commanders had some weakness on the interior offensive line. They had a tight end that's very involved in the pass game with a speedy receiver on the outside. They had a quarterback that's you can't blitz and is a big threat with his legs. Like, you're kind of coming off of a pretty good, test of a 1-to-1 of what they were going to be. And the Chiefs haven't had that. I mean, the Chiefs played the Bills, but the Bills offense is just nothing like the Eagles offense. And if you want any further proof of that, just go look at how they run QB sneaks, because, man, that's kind of embarrassing. So I feel good about the Eagles defense going into this game. And I feel good about Vic Fangio being able to spin the dials as the game goes on. We may very well see a 20-play opening drive for the Chiefs. That won't have me worried. So, Dives, what do you have?
I do want to bring up a trend that's kind of coming up. We've been gushing about Nolan Smith these last few weeks. But my main man, Quinyon Mitchell, has been tearing it up these last few weeks. 2 picks in 3 weeks. He's allowed 2 receptions on 6 targets against Green Bay in the wild card, 1 reception on 2 targets against the Rams, 2 receptions on 5 targets against the Commanders. We're seeing there's a lot of big names in this game with Saquon and Jalen Carter and Hurts and Kelsey and all this stuff. But Quinyon Mitchell's playing some of the best football right now. And you look at this Chiefs offense, they're going to want to spread you out. And there's going to be a lot of receptions to a lot of different receivers, Hollywood Brown to, you know what. So Juju to, they even have a tight end too that I know Ryan is
Noah Gray.
Tell us about. He's really good. I'll take him over Calcaterra all day.
All day. Calculator.
And, Quinyon could get some looks. So, I want to give a quick shout out to Quinyon Mitchell, who's been terrific lately. And could we see the beginning of playmaker Quinyon? He's been was it Quinyon Bay?
Yeah.
But it hasn't equaled to a lot of playmaking, a lot of picks and things like that. We've seen it these last few weeks. Does that continue on Sunday?
Yeah. He almost has as many receptions as his counterparts in the postseason. He has 2 and they have 5. So he's holding his own out there.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our prop bets for the Super Bowl then. Should we do our score prediction at the front, or should we wait till the very end for that?
I don't care.
Can we mention special teams real quick?
Yeah. I don't want to.
What's special teams?
Nine Super Bowls have been decided by a field goal or less. So Elliott could play an important role in determining the outcome of this game. He believes his experience, having played in these, is going to help him. But I do think that it will play a big part. And people keep talking about the field goal. He already missed a field goal down in New Orleans earlier this year, but that was a 60-yard attempt. I think some people have forgotten that part of it. But I feel good about the special teams. I think Braden Mann has been a weapon all year. And special teams was a big reason the Eagles lost that other Super Bowl. It isn't talked about enough, but that punt, I think it was the longest punt return in NFL history. I mean, that killed them. They got down to what, the 7-9 yard line off of that. It was terrible. It flipped the game. And Braden Mann is a lot better, and I expect special teams will play a role in this game.
Yep.
All right. Does anybody else want to say anything about special teams?
Probably not.
I do want to add, I did not add missed kicks for Jake Elliott into the Google sheet. None of that juju this week. I don't want any of it.
No voodoo. I like it.
Voodoo, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Come on. Let's say New Orleans.
Down there it's called voodoo. I don't know.
Juju plays for the Chiefs.
That's probably why, yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into our prop bets then. Let's start off with our score predictions. So, Dibes, I'll throw it to you
Oh,
first.
my God.
What's your score prediction?
Did you get?
All right. I hate being on the spot here. I didn't even think about this. I've been doing so many other things. I'm going to go Eagles win. I do think it's going to be a one-score game. I'll go 27-22.
All right.
Slide over.
Dibes has Mahomes' first one-score loss in the last 3 years or something like that. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm feeling pretty confident, honestly. It hasn't hit me that I'm feeling overly confident, and then I start to panic. But I'm still in the I'm confident and I feel good about it. So I'm going to say 41-20.
Wow.
Birds.
All right. Give me 28-24 Eagles.
Really, Shane? Whoops.
What?
That was like so close to mine.
I know.
Wah.
All right.
Wait. You get to say it back to him. So you have Mahomes' first one-score loss in over 3 years. There we go.
We're getting some comments about Abdul Carter refusing to play for a team so he can come to the Eagles. Abdul Carter will be a top 5 pick. It's not going to happen.
He might be first.
He might
Yeah, I've seen.
He'll cost him millions and millions of dollars.
Don't worry, how will you hook him up?
Yep, I'm sure.
We'll go. Listen, we'll do a GoFundMe. Everybody in Philly put up like $2.
I'm in. I'm
We'll
1,000% in.
We'll cover it. We got it.
All right, David, what do you have for your score?
33-19 Eagles.
Let's go. Now I feel even freaking better. Let's go.
When you went 41, I knew you were going 41-33. I just knew you were doing that.
No, I thought about it, but
You want Philly?
no.
All right, Super Bowl 59 MVP, quarterback or the field, David?
I think it's going to be Jalen Hurts, so quarterback.
All right, give me the field.
It's dry this time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go field because Mr. Saquon Barkley is gonna win.
Straight up quarterback, man. No quarterback.
All right, over under passing yards. Jalen Hurts 299.
First of all, I picked Jalen Carter as my MVP, player of the game, 80% of the time. Come on.
You were right 0 times.
0 times. And the times he was the player of the game, I didn't have him.
Yeah.
All right. Dives over under 299 yards from Jalen Hurts.
Oh. Thinking.
God, I just feel like Kellen Moore is going to pull out all the stops on this one. I feel like this is a big Hurts game. A lot of people, I know, like all the signs point to Saquon, and rightfully so. But I really believe that Jalen Hurts is going to ball out on Sunday. I'm going to go over.
All right. Ryan.
I'm going under.
Yeah, I am smashing that under.
Smashing it. Yeah, exactly.
Hurts has only thrown for over 300 yards one time this season.
How many did he have against Kansas City last time?
Well, hold on. Anybody want to guess which game he threw for 300?
The Super Bowl.
No, this season.
No, this season?
It was at New Orleans.
Yeah, I was about to say. Yeah, wasn't it at New Orleans? Yeah.
Yep. All right, in a loss, but we don't have
Yeah,
to.
well.
No. They won that one. That was
Yeah,
the
they
difference
did.
between the two losses. All right,
That was
David,
back when
over under.
people thought New Orleans was a good team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the words of Nick Sirianni, Shane, don't doubt him. Don't doubt him.
How did he throw for 311 yards in a game where we put up 15 points? That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. We just put up 55 points in an NFC championship game. But the game he threw for 300 yards was a 15. That's crazy. Sorry. David, over under 299.5 for Hurts passing.
I agree with Dibes. Hurts is going to have a big game.
Ooh. All right. Patrick Mahomes, over under 249.5, David.
Under.
Oh.
All right. Dibes, you tabbed back over to you. Do you want to give your answer? What do you have?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with David. I think he's going to be hell efficient. He's going to be a slight under. I think kind of like a Jaden Daniels, like 20 of 26 for like 250, something like that.
All right. So you're taking under.
Yep.
I'm also taking the under. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm going to take the over.
All right.
And also, did Dives just say he was going to throw for 250?
Yeah.
So that would be the over.
No, I want to go under.
Okay.
But that's why he's going to be right around there. Yeah, he's going to be right around there. But I do think
it's going to be it's going to be garbage time, and he's going to get a garbage 80-yard drive to put him over.
I mean, one of the low-key storylines that we talked about this on Party on Broad last night. The Eagles are averaging 12-plus points a game in the first quarter these last few weeks. That's more than double we saw during the regular season. That's what we want to see. Belt to ass in the first quarter. This Eagles team dominates. Right. I said it right for the first time ever, Ryan. And the Eagles take not only the Patrick Mahomes offense off the field in the fourth quarter, but also the refs. Don't even make it a thing. Dominate from the jump. I want to see the same thing in the first quarter.
All right. Let's keep rolling here. Over under Mahomes rushing yards at 49.5. I'll take the under. So I got the under. Ryan, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think the under.
Goodness,
I
there's
just
a lot
don't
of
think
these.
he gets the. I just don't think he gets the amount.
All right. We're gonna have to go to one-word answers here in a minute.
I actually have to. I'm gonna have to freeze the top because there's so many rows here. There we go.
All right, Dives, over under 49.5 rushing yards for Mahomes.
This is it, man. This is the storyline for me. Getting the Chiefs into these third and fives, third and longs, and not getting bit. Wrap up, swarm to the ball, play together. This is it for me. This is a big prop bet for me. And I do think the Eagles defense replicates a lot what we saw against Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. I'm going to go under.
Wow. That was the
All right.
longest
Shut up, Ryan.
explanation. Under. I thought you were going to give like a halftime speech there. Full hearts.
All right, David, what do you got?
Full hearts. Can't lose.
Under. Jalen Carter's going to clothesline him very early in this game, and that's going to be the end of those rushing attempts.
And Jalen Carter gets ejected from
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
game.
say, and he gets ejected.
Probably.
Over
I'll take
under Jalen Hurts total touchdowns at 2.5. Dibes.
Over.
That's interesting because you only picked him. You only picked the Eagles to score 3 touchdowns. So Hurts is getting all 3.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. The math doesn't math. So
It does not.
Never does.
Now, hold on. To be clear, total touchdowns means rushing, right? Or
Correct.
do you mean, or does it count if he throws it too?
yeah, it's
Everything.
total.
So basically, non-handoff touchdowns.
Yep.
Okay. Ryan, what do you have?
I'm going over. I think he gets 3. And I have the room to say that.
Yeah. All right. Well, if passing touchdowns count, I'll take it. Give me the over.
Well, of course they do.
They
Over.
typically do not count as
What world do we think that? Again, I know he did it last week.
total counts.
Right.
but yeah.
I know he did it last week, but what world do we think he's going to get 3 rushing touchdowns again?
Likely.
Yeah.
We have a comment. Are we doing the armchair scouts tonight? We're not. We're on break. We'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Got to get through the Super Bowl. Probably next week.
Over. He's getting 3
Also,
touchdowns.
go Microsoft Excel.
Great comment here from Brandon that Dibes actually predicted 4 touchdowns. He's just predicting Elliott will miss an extra point.
Oh, dude, don't put
By
that
the way,
out. No,
I was like one of the
wow.
only ones that was correct on predicting the misses. All you homers picked it under on Jake Elliott misses the last few weeks. Not me, but I didn't add that into the spreadsheet.
I did. I picked under because
Did
I've
you?
had no confidence in Jake Elliott since like week 6.
All right, Shane, you did.
Okay. I was going to say that doesn't sound like some. Yeah, I've consistently picked the over.
Yeah, Shane, you did. Hold on, let me get the wild card. We didn't have it for the wild card.
Yeah. Okay. Put some respect on my doubting Jake Elliott. Okay. Over under rushing attempts from Jalen Hurts at 8.5, David.
I am over on touchdowns, over on rushing attempts. I'm over on everything on this board that's Eagles scoring points. Over, and over. The entire board.
All right. Give me over on Hurts rushing attempts too. Ryan.
Yeah, go over.
All right. Dibes.
Tough though.
Over. Again, this is the Jalen Hurts game. So
All right.
I think, yep.
First Eagles touchdown. Jalen Hurts to the field. Does this count passing?
Yes.
Okay. What do you have, Dibes?
Jalen Hurts.
Well, considering all of your touchdown are Hurts related, so I'd say so.
Ryan, what do you have?
I'm also gonna go Hurts here.
All right, I'll take Hurts too.
Hurts.
I can't wait till Saquon breaks it off the 3rd play from scrimmage.
I'm dead. I'll be dead.
All right, Saquon Barkley, total touchdowns at 1.5, Dibes.
Under.
All right. Ryan, what do you have?
Oh, this is tough. I'm gonna say over. I think he gets 2.
All right. I will take the under. I think he breaks a long one, but that's it. David?
Under. I'm over everything passing.
Under.
Gunner.
First Chiefs receiving touchdown. Travis Kelce or the field, David?
The field.
All right. I will take Kelce.
Does the field include not throwing a touchdown or receiving a touchdown?
Yes,
receiving
correct.
touchdown? Okay.
Yeah.
If nobody catches a touchdown, it'd just be a push. It doesn't count.
Okay. Well, I'm still gonna go field.
All right, Dibes.
Yeah, I'm going Kelsey.
All right, so over under Kelce touchdowns. Dibes and I obviously have the over. Ryan, what about you?
Under.
All right,
Wow.
David.
Under.
Wow, interesting.
All right. Over under total yards from Xavier Worthy, Dibes. Sorry, line's at 56.5 for our audio listeners.
I think he's going over. I think he's going to have a big play, and that's going to put him slightly over. But by the way, this is total yards, and then Worthy can, get a handoff and go for 20 in a whim.
All right, Ryan.
Yeah, I think he gets slightly over. I agree with Dives. I think he gets like a 30-yard catch in the fourth quarter when the Eagles have already clinched it.
All right. I will take give me the under. David, what do you have?
I'm going under as well. And wasn't it last year's Super Bowl where Kelsey attacked Andy Reid on the sideline for not giving him the ball the entire first half?
I don't think that was the Super Bowl, was it?
Yeah, I remember that.
I thought it was the play. I thought it was somewhere in the playoffs.
It was a Super Bowl.
Was it the Super Bowl?
All right, over under AJ Brown receptions, 5.5, Dibes.
Oh, that's tough.
I'm going over. I'm going with my heart with this one, and I'm going to lose. Whatever. I'm going over. I think Jalen and AJ make a statement in this one. There's been so much ridiculous drama between those two off the field, and I feel that my heart is saying Jalen and AJ silence all the critics.
All right, Ryan.
I'm going to go under. I think he just misses.
All right, give me the over. David?
Over.
All right, Devontae Smith receptions at 6.5. Give me the under. David?
Over.
Wow.
Ryan?
I'm gonna say under as well.
All right, Dibes?
Under.
All right, Saquon Barkley rushing yards, 159.5,
That is
Dibes.
a line.
It's going to be just under.
All right,
Over.
Ryan's got the over. I'm taking the under.
Under.
David?
Under.
David finally has it under.
What do you
right.
mean? What, 3 of the last 5 runners.
Yeah.
Barkley
it's all
receiving
passing
yards.
for me, man.
Yeah, he
Barkley
said for
receiving yards. Here you go, David. 12.5. What do you have?
Over.
Eagles. See? He said for Eagles, he's going over everything.
Yep. Everything in passing. Over.
I will also take the over, especially if Gainwell doesn't play. Ryan.
No tattoos for me. I'm going to go under.
Gainwell's playing.
All right, Dibes.
I'm going over, and I will be on post game crying on the touchdown wheel route play as we watch it during post game. Going over.
All right. Over, under, Kareem Hunt total yards.
Oh, total?
What do you have, Dibes? Line at 49.5.
And I'm going straight under.
All right. I will also take the under. David.
Under.
I'm going over.
I didn't ask you.
All right.
Ryan, what do you had? By the way, Ryan, if you want to just do something, real simple in case you end up getting that Kenny Gainwell,
Tattoo,
Super Bowl
right?
MVP, and you got to get the tattoo.
Yep.
You can go ahead and go place a wager on him to win Super Bowl MVP.
I-
A $1 bet will get you $550. It'll cover your tattoo. So
See, that's where you're wrong. I've even seen it higher. I've seen it at plus 6,000.
it's it.
Yeah. So
What am-
that's a great idea. It'll
What-
absolutely pay for the tattoo.
One of the best tweets of the week was Jalen Hurts calling Kenny Gainwell the most underrated player on the team.
Yeah. But I love
No, it's
Yeah.
it's plus 55,000 right now. So drop $1 on it.
No,
It'll
sorry,
pay you out.
60,000 was what I saw, but
Yeah.
All right. Well, either way.
Yeah.
I'm.
Is he healthy? What's the latest with him?
I don't know.
He's been walking around
Yeah, he's
New
been walking
Orleans
around
looking
LA.
pretty good.
I think it's the
LA,
same
New
thing
Orleans.
with Hurts still being in protocol because they haven't done all the practice
Right,
stuff
they
that
can't
allows
say
them to
anything.
clear it.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
all right, Ryan. I know you're going to be partying in Philly, but if Kenny Gainwell gets 3 first downs on Sunday, you have to call in during the post game show. You have to call in during the
I
post.
will call in regardless.
Okay.
I'll wear my Kenny Gainwell jersey down to wherever I'm partying. But I will say I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the nameplate by my shoulders, right? I'm going to get kind of like a Nick Foles-esque of like him holding the Super Bowl trophy. And then I'm going to say, underneath it'll be like Super Bowl MVP in the same nameplate style. Whole back tat.
All right, there you go.
It sounds like you're desirous of it. Like, this is great.
No,
Yeah.
I think it would be fun. I thought it would be fun to visualize what it would be like, considering
I like
we all
it.
know it's not going to happen.
All Kenny G does is get first downs. That's all he does.
Yeah, but not touchdowns since I.
I said
All right, let's
3
keep this
first
rolling.
downs, 3 first downs.
Let's keep this rolling. Hollywood Brown receptions, 3.5 dives, over under.
I have no idea, to be honest. I have no idea. I'll go under.
All right, Ryan, what do you have?
I'll go slightly over.
All right, I will take the under on that one.
Under.
All right, Dallas Goedert receiving yards, 79.5, David.
I wonder what Doug's
Over.
gonna say.
All
He's
right.
getting a 100-yard game.
All right, I will also take the over. Ryan?
I'm gonna go slightly under. I think that's a really good line.
All right, Dibes?
You can't back out now.
When I was doing a show about Dallas Goedert, a segment, and I instead of calling it a stiff arm, I called it a stiffy, and I heard shit about it for weeks.
You did.
So I will say over and at least 2 stiffies.
All right, over under Jalen Hurts turnover, 0.5, Dibes.
I mean, I have to say under.
Under.
Yep, I'll take the under too.
Under
David,
the-
this is pass game related. You got to take the over, right?
No. Under. No turnovers for Jalen Hurts.
All right, over under Jake Elliott made field goals, 1.5, Dibes.
Got to do my math.
Yeah, go back up to your score.
I'm going to go under. I mean, the Eagles have been so good in the red zone lately. Give me the under.
All right, Ryan.
I'll go over. I think he hits 2.
I will take under. David, what do you have?
Over.
All right, so there you have it. Our score picks and a whole bunch of prop bets that we'll come back and revisit.
Good grief.
Way too many prop bets. Way too.
By the
many
way,
prop
David,
bets.
you have a chance of getting the W here if things go your way. Just saying.
We need to just fill that out offline next time and show our answers off.
It only took 36 minutes. Come on.
I don't know if that's very enthralling for people to listen to, but we have a good time with it. So that's about going to do it for our Super Bowl preview. It's still going to be a lot more stuff coming your way. Johnny and I are going to be joined by BLG on Thursday for a preview episode. The Kelly Green Hour guys will have theirs up. John Stolness will have his Eye on the Enemy up. And then, of course, Dibes and I will be live at halftime of the Super Bowl, I think. I should have asked him that. We'll be live at postgame for sure, probably at halftime, because who cares about concerts during football games? So you guys come hang out with us all the way in the run-up to the Super Bowl, and then we've got lots of content coming your way this offseason as we celebrate the Eagles being Super Bowl champions. So, guys, let's throw it around the horn here. David, plug your stuff. Tell the people where they can find you. Any final thoughts that you have?
You can follow everything at PHL Eagle News or Philly Sports Network. I would just tell everybody, just enjoy the ride, man. This is unique territory. This isn't going to keep happening over and over and over. I mean, I think they have a really good team and they have a really good chance to have, a window here to keep this up. But this is 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. It's crazy. For everybody complaining and saying all these negative things all week long, and just enjoy the ride, man, because they're going to prove Sunday that they're the best team in the National Football League this year.
All right. Good stuff. Ryan, the floor is yours, man. What do you got?
I will not be getting a tattoo if he participates in a Philly special, but yeah, you can follow me at Philly Sports PSA. We will be having a Football Smack Talk show on this channel. I know Shane just forgot.
Shoot.
But tomorrow at 5:30 Eastern. But yeah, everybody enjoy the ride, like David said, and if you're down there, I'll see you down on Broad Street.
All right, Dibes, the floor is yours.
Make sure you hang out with us during halftime and postgame. I have zero interest in this halftime show this year, so definitely join us for halftime and postgame. We have a special guest joining for postgame. That's going to be really fun. Hopefully the first of many. But anyway, be on the lookout for that reveal, as well as a lot of draft content coming up for the Armchair Scouts. We'll be back after the Super Bowl, getting positional rankings, big boards, mock drafts, a ton of info is coming. So be on the lookout for that.
All right. So there you have it, everybody. Thanks for following along with all of our coverage this season. We've had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys each and every Tuesday night. And we're going to keep that going after the season. So you can expect at least pretty much weekly. We'll miss a week or two here or there content throughout the season, off season. So let us know if there's topics you want us to cover. You can always hit us up and let us know that. And, we're always looking for ideas. So like David said, enjoy the run up to this game. I'm already getting antsy, but enjoy this. It doesn't come around often, and that feels weird to say when it's the second Super Bowl in 3 years, third in 8 years. But let's go bring this one home for Brandon Graham to ride off into the sunset too. So that's going to do it for this episode of Birds of the Round Table. Really appreciate you guys following along. Hit that like button. Follow us on Twitter. Follow the Eagles Pinpool Network wherever you get your podcasts. But on Twitter, David is at PHL Eagle News. Ryan is at Philly Sports PSA. Dibes is at Mr. Crockpot. I am at Shane Half NFL, and we will catch you guys next time. Go Birds.